One of the most underestimated sources of frustration inside teams is unclear responsibility. Because when people talk about communication, productivity, or accountability problems, what often sitting underneath them all is role confusion. People are not fully clear about what they own, what others own, and how decisions are actually supposed to move through the team. And at first, that confusion can seem relatively manageable. People compensate, adapt, and try filling gaps quietly to keep things functioning. But in the long run, unclear roles create emotional friction that slowly begin affecting communication, trust, and team stability underneath the surface. Because uncertainty around responsibility almost always creates uncertainty around accountability too. And once accountability becomes unclear, frustrations usually follow very quickly. One of the biggest problems with unclear roles is that people begin relying on assumptions instead of alignment. Everyone develops their own interpretation of responsibility. One person assumes leadership will decide. Another assumes the team should always know what to do. Someone else quietly starts taking ownership of tasks nobody formally assigned them because the ambiguity itself becomes stressful. And eventually, communication becomes reactive instead of intentional. People begin correcting misunderstandings after problems already exist instead of preventing confusion early. That dynamic is emotionally exhausting. Giving that ambiguity forces constant interpretation, and interpretation creates friction. One thing businesses underestimate is how emotionally draining an unclear expectation can be. Because role confusion not only creates operational problems, it creates emotional tension. People start questioning whether they're doing enough. They start becoming frustrated when effort goes unnoticed or when accountability feels unevenly distributed among the team. And even resentment begins building quietly underneath everyday collaboration. Not necessarily because people are willing to contribute, but because emotional clarity disappears alongside structural clarity. And once that happens, communication is often shorter, more defensive, and less collaborative, because people stop feeling insecure inside the structure itself. Clear roles create emotional stability because they reduce uncertainty. People understand where responsibility begins and where it ends. They understand who owns decisions, who supports execution, how accountability actually functions inside the team. And once that clarity exists, communication is significantly healthier. People stop constantly negotiating responsibility emotionally, assuming and compensating silently for confusion. And instead of conversations becoming more direct, collaborative and productive because the structure underneath it then feels more stable. Many communication problems inside organizations improve dramatically once role clarification improves first. People communicate much better when emotional friction around responsibility decreases. Most teams do not become frustrated simply because they lack talent or motivation. Often, frustration grows because clarity slowly disappears under the structure itself. And once people stop feeling uncertain about responsibility, communication usually becomes emotionally heavier very quickly. Don't forget to hit the like button for notifications and subscribe to TIDAL Coach, where we're defining what modern leadership looks like.